Welcome back to the Level Up Show. My name is Pamela Daly, your DHL gal, and we are back again today with an amazing lady from Philadelphia. Her name is Amanda Yoa. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. For those of you who don't know me, I am Amanda Yoa. I am a community leader, speaker, and podcast host of my show, Staying Inspired. I call myself the hype woman straight out of Philly, PA, with a passion to inspire unstoppable women to get out of their own way, break their glass ceilings, and make those bigger and better than they could have ever imagined visions and dreams become their reality. So it's a pleasure to be here today, and I can't wait to tap into our conversation. Thank you
Right,
for
I got
having
goosebumps. I don't know if you can see
me.
that. I got goosebumps for this. So great to have you here. One of the things I was immediately attracted to was your background and your poster. Can you tell us a little bit about the brand and how did you get here?
Yeah, I just feel like it's very authentic to who I am. I actually was working on revamping it, making it a little more present for where I'm at now because I've been making next level moves and just doing a lot of things with my logo. So this will change, but the image is still the same. I just love it. It's very edgy and gives you that like bad bee vibe, if you know what I'm saying. And that's me. And I bring all of me to the table, who I am. Because before I did not do that. And showing up was very hard and very difficult and took a lot of effort. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let me just show up like me and see what happens. And it's been great. So I'm gonna keep doing that, right? So yeah, this is just all of me. It's who I am. I like to bring an urban vibe into everything that I do because I'm from Philadelphia. So yeah, that's where it came from.
It was really attractive because what you just spoke about, like it's felt really authentic. I was like, I can see some personality here. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about what you just said about it was really challenging and difficult for you before you did that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I feel this can be a challenge for a lot of people who are stepping into something that they know they have that passion for, right? But it's like, how do you build it? How do you begin? Where do you begin? And for me, it was I had my sources of inspiration and I kinda took those things and ran with it, and I thought I had to look like this. I had a hat phase, right? And I leave it on my Instagram because it's the biggest lesson that I've ever had to learn in my business and in life, really. I thought if I wore this fedora hat, which mind you, super cute, no offense to the fedora hat wearers. I thought if I wear this hat, I'll be successful. If I wear this hat, people will take me serious as a coach and I'll get all the followers and I slowly realized I started forming and molding this brand for myself that really wasn't me. And showing up and sharing my message every day became real. It took a lot of effort because it wasn't me. And I thought to myself, this is really not in my wheelhouse of joy anymore. And that is where, when you come from a place of joy and authenticity and sharing yourself, that's where the magic happens. And magic was not happening for me. And I thought, wait a minute, this is not fun anymore. Showing up is not fun. What am I doing here? And I said, why don't I just be all in with me and share myself authentically? And I think that's a lot of it was the hardest lesson I ever had to learn. And it was really just being all in with who I am, my message, and what I bring to the table, knowing that there's room for everybody at the table, their message, their uniqueness, their style, whatever it may be. There's room for everybody at the table. And I feel like when you don't do that and you try to water yourself down or fit in with the masses of what everyone else is doing, you lose that uniqueness. You lose that magic that is you. And showing up takes a lot of effort and it becomes not fun anymore.
Mhm.
So, I really stepped in and harnessed my passion and my purpose from a place of authenticity and really bringing me to the table. And now showing up is effortless. It's fun. I have fun in what I'm doing every single day, and I'm just me, and I love it.
A lot of people do what I think you did as well. I did. It was really challenging for me to speak about what it was I really wanted to talk about. I think that was a really big piece of it. So, what if somebody is listening today and knows that they're not 100% stepping into who they are? What are a couple of steps that you took to help you with that trepidation or fear that people have?
The first thing I will say is a lot of time I'm glad you brought up fear because I think fear is the forefront of everything that we do. And a lot of times when we're putting ourselves out there on a platform, such as what we do, everyone is in fear of being judged. And here's the thing, you're always going to be judged for something, right? There's not going to be one person out there that does not judge you in some way, shape, or form. And you just have to realize that that's not your currency to invest in. I just did a whole podcast episode about this because we can really allow other people to take our power and keep us stifled and stuck. So, realizing number one, where are you investing your energy? Where are you investing your power? And realizing at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what anyone else says about you because everyone has their own baggage, they have their own limitations. Right? And if you're stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something new and unknown, that can scare people and it can trigger them in a way where they're not going to support you the way that you thought you would be supported. So it's really being intentional on pouring into your own cup and knowing that what you say trumps what you hear from the peanut gallery. Right. And then when you're setting forward and you have that power, it's coming from a place of having core values, knowing for me, building my brand and building my message came from a foundation of what are my values? What is my mission? What is my voice in all of this? What's my message? And that lays your foundation. That's kind of like getting the hard part out of the way. And then the easy part is just bringing you to the table. I'm going to bring all of me, my personality. Maybe you do like vibrant colors and you're from the city. Maybe you're from the country and you like pastel. So, whatever it is, bring all of it to the table. Right. So, it's really coming from a foundation of knowing your core values, what you stand for, your mission and your message, as well as overcoming that fear of what other people are gonna think about you, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have our ish, guess you could
Mhm.
say. And just knowing that whatever you say up in here will always overpower what the peanut gallery has to say. I
Staying
would say those are the 2 big things, yeah.
Yeah, those are huge. We talk a lot about those around here. The forefront is the values and the mission, right? Really understanding why we're going to go and put ourselves out there. There's got to be a reason behind it that's stronger than the fear or stronger than what XYZ might say. So that's incredible.
Yeah.
Where did staying inspired come from?
Staying inspired, came from a place of my journey, I guess you would say. I got to a place in my life where I was not doing well. I was in a place of waking up every day, felt like I was just surviving. Like, let me just get through this day. Let me just get through this next day. When I made a choice to change my life. And for me, it was observing and being inspired by other people and the moves that they were making. And it inspired me to find that inner motivation. Right? Like, we all can have our sources of inspiration, but I always feel that motivation comes from within because motivation requires action. And for a while, it took me a while to transition from that just observation mode of watching other people and what they did, what was their process, how did they grow, how did they heal, how did they overcome, to start applying those things to my own life. 'Cause that's where the real work happens, right? Like, that's where you actually have to take action and address things that you may not want to address,
Mm,
step into that fear, overcome that fear. So for me, it's always building a platform. When it came to my podcast and my name, I wanted to build a platform where other women could come and listen, and whether no matter what stage they are in their growth and where they're at in their life or their business, know that they will always have a space where they can keep being inspired to take
mhm.
next level action towards the next level things that they want to do, whether it's self development, business, whatever it may be. So for me, it really came from where I was in my life and knowing how much that impacted me in a positive way and
Mhm.
just paying that forward to my community.
Really important to have role models and people. And I find that there's not enough women in our space that we can be inspired by. If you even just go look up the top 10 quotes for motivation, well, they're all going to be men. And I love it to see young, amazing women like yourself step into this space and be that inspiration. It's something that I needed as well and still need to see someone out front of me kind of going the way. How do I'm feeling you probably get the snow too. It's kind of like that snow plow, like who's going to make that first run down that road so we can get out, right? So we can keep moving. When we had our real quick chat, there was a word that you used that I absolutely loved, and I think we need to talk about it. And it starts with an A, accountability.
Mhm.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about accountability.
Accountability can come into wherever we are in our life. Like I was talking about earlier, going from that observation mode to taking next level action and changing your life. At the end of the day, you have to have that accountability for yourself. And you continue to have that accountability, whether it's your self development, your relationship with others, in your business. You always have to have accountability to show up and show out for yourself. And it was something that I really had to learn. And it can come from, like I said, all different aspects of your life. I remember when I was first starting out my healing journey, I was stuck in this story of this victim mindset of everything happening to me. And things did happen in my life that were unfortunate with my relationships with people and where I ended up in life. But I saw change, I saw healing, and I saw growth when I was able to take accountability for myself, realizing, Amanda, at the end of the day, you chose to take this story with you. This was your choice. No matter what anyone says to you or does to you, I feel like we always mold this sense of self and who we are, our characteristics, our mindset. We mold that from our experiences. And you may be triggered by that in a way, which at one point I was. But I
Mhm.
think it's a powerful thing to realize because it allows you to realize how powerful you are to take your power back. I got to a point where I got tired of telling myself the same old story about my life. You never follow through with anything. You're a failure. You're not worthy. You're not lovable. You're not beautiful. And I said, I'm tired of telling myself this story because it hasn't gotten me anywhere. And I was at a point in my life where I needed to go somewhere.
Mm,
Right? So I had to take accountability for my own life, despite what may have happened to me, and say, okay, you know what? Life may have happened to me. I had this mindset of life happening to me, but life also happened for me and it continues to happen for me. So why don't I look back and rewrite my story and figure out what the for me is in all of
mm.
this? And that was me taking accountability for my life and the things that I wanted to do. And now when I'm doing what I do now, I continue to take accountability, um, for myself, relationships with others, having to be vulnerable and having integrity, admitting when you're wrong, admitting when there's something you have to look at. It all gives you the power and the strength to grow and to take that next level step in your life. So, yeah, accountability is huge. It's huge in whatever we do.
The one line that you said was, I had somewhere I wanted to go.
Yeah.
How would tell me about that?
Yeah. I mean, I always say no matter where you are in life, and you could be in your life happens to me season, maybe in the for me season, I don't know. But there's always a quiet whisper,
Mm,
right? Like we have this narrative up here
mm.
in our minds of whatever it may be. A lot of times it can be negative, but I always say there's that quiet whisper in here in your soul that tells you that you are meant for more. And if you tap into that long enough, that quiet whisper becomes a loud roar. And that loud roar can take and shape you into whatever it is that you desire. So I knew that I was meant for more from the time I was a little girl, and that it got stifled with life experiences and me choosing to take that story with me of not being good enough, and I took accountability for who I was, and I rewrote that story knowing that I was meant for more. And I continue to listen to that loud roar and I allow her to take the driver's seat, even on the difficult times when it's really hard, like when we're doing out of the box things, stepping out of our comfort zone. The mind likes to play tricks because at the end of the day, we're human, right? Like our brain is wired to keep us safe.
Right.
So it will say and bring back old mindset and things that you're like,
Oh,
where is this? Yeah, where is this coming from?
I
You
thought
have to
I
tap
dealt
back
with
into
you.
that loud.
I thought I dealt with you.
Yeah, right? Like, "Oh, hello, where's this coming from?"
Yeah.
So you have to be mindful in those moments to tap back into that quiet whisper or that loud roar and make her become a loud roar again and tell that mind to take a seat because
Right.
I'm in the driver's seat now.
So many of us, I think, we're in the passenger seat or we're even in the back seat. But
Yeah.
yet, don't we all yearn to be in the driver's seat? I think we
Yeah.
do. If we end up in this arena with businesses, running a business, I think we want to be in the driver's seat, but there's this push pull between the old self, the new self, and what are people going to think? And some of it's even generational. If we're the first entrepreneur, we're the first business owner in our families, right? There's a lot there to really push through. It's
Yeah.
tremendous courage that
Yeah.
to step into a life that we really want. And thank goodness for the internet. And it gives us the ability to do this.
Yeah. I have a good story with that. So the one time I was driving to my first ever speaking engagement and talk about being scared.
Mm,
I was scared, right? So, that whole time and this was something that I've been building and I've been working towards. This was my moment. So, I'm driving there and the whole time my mind is just saying everything it needs to say, and I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna let myself have a moment." And I allowed all those thoughts, that lack, that scarcity, that what if you mess up? What if this? What if that? Who are you to do this? You think you're ready to do something like this? Right? And then I tapped into that quiet whisper, and I allowed her to become a loud roar. And I
mm,
reminded myself of who I was and what I was here to do. And I could have quickly banged a Yui and turned around and went home, but I didn't. I went all the way there and I told that story when I was there in front of all those women. And I was like, I gotta tell you something, ladies. This is my first speaking engagement. And
yeah,
everybody was like, oh, because they couldn't believe it, right? Because
mm,
I showed up and I showed out. And
yeah.
I told that scarcity mindset to take a seat. And I said that story vulnerably. I could have allowed them to think I've been speaking for ages. I was like, I'm going to keep it real with you. This is my first speaking engagement. And I'm saying that to say this: we're always going to be scared. But the feeling that you get from doing the thing and stepping out of your comfort zone and accomplishing what you've set out to do, that feeling will always, always, always trump the scarcity and the fear that is holding you back.
And that's the feeling I think we want for our lives. I think it's why we do the things we do, but it's also the numbing and all of that other side of it. Like we think that we don't want to feel anything. But we do. We have to tell ourselves the truth, I think, that we really do wanna feel like all that in a bag of chips, they used to say, right?
Yep.
We go and do
Careful.
accomplish these great things. I want that feeling for myself, but there's something about this pride or there's something about this my mother used to say, "Don't get too big for your boots," right? Like, stuff like
Yes.
we've all got those little things, but I think that's the feeling that we're meant to have when we do what it is that we're here to do. And especially if we've had a life experience like you had mentioned, which I think none of us get out without one. And it's this, how's it working for me? What can I do with it? What can I take? And that's where this branding comes in. And that's where your personality comes in. And if we just own it, it's amazing what we can accomplish. And really, when we tell ourselves the truth, we all want to be successful.
Yeah.
We all want more money. We all want these things, but yet society says money's not good and salespeople are bad. And it's always the rich people in the movies that are the villains. And so we're dealing with these things. But if we just tell ourselves that inner truth, like you said, that voice that says, I've got something I want to say, I've got something I want to do, I think the world will change.
Yeah.
We won't
Absolutely.
see as many women who are struggling with that voice. And you can see it in people in the world. Right? You could see that. And it shows up as all sorts of things: depression, anxiety, anger, right? I think this Karen movement that's going on out there is a lot of this. she's not listened to herself and her own need. So she's just overstepping and over. It's just interesting to watch women, what goes on when we don't follow through with what we're here to do.
Yeah. It can be really tough because us women, we are powerful beings and sometimes we use that power in the wrong way. And for me, a big thing is collaboration over competition and looking at your sources of inspiration and realizing that what is that saying? When you feel like someone's copying you, it's like a form of flattery.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of people take offense to someone doing something like they did. But I like to say I'm allowing that person to express themselves in their own way. And for me, it's really not about competition. We rise and we grow at a substantially faster rate when we are able to combine forces, to
Right.
do it together. And a lot of times women get triggered because they see something in someone that they can't make a connection in within themselves. Like
Yes.
in reality, they are seeing the greatness in someone. When you can see a greatness in someone, it's because that greatness resides inside of you in
Right.
your own unique way. And a lot of people get triggered in that and they get resentful and they get bitter and they get envious and they get catty, whatever it is, and they become a hater because
Right.
they don't know how to make that connection in their own life. When really if they would just confide in that person, join forces with that person, say, "Hey, I really love how you do this. Can we have a chat? I'm having a hard time making a connection with what I'm trying to do with my life." Vulnerability is a strength. And
Yes.
if you can stand up and show up for yourself in that way, you will see things happen in your life. You'll see growth and up levelment in the most amazing way. So, yeah, turn that trigger into inspiration, is what I say.
Right. And there's 3 ways to get to Philly from Detroit or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
pardon, I'm Canadian, so I don't know exactly, but there's all these different roads. We don't all need to be on the exact same road to get to the same destination, right? It's not a crowded highway. There's so much room, especially when you've got an Amanda Yoa lane, and then we've got a Pamela Dale lane. We're all going to Detroit, but we're going on our own paths. And when we really understand the abundance of the universe, I think it's a different game. And what I see people all the time, oh my God, can I get all of this locked down? What if somebody takes my stuff? I'm like, nobody wants your stuff, right? Like somebody
For
might,
real.
and some people might, but believe me, they're never going to be successful. Let them
Yeah.
have it because it's just going to keep them stuck over here for 6 more months. You got more time to be on your highway and get going where you need to go to. Right.
Yeah.
So there's no way that if you add in what you mentioned right at the beginning of this show, you
Mm,
can never copy you. If you
right.
are real you, and there's nowhere but up.
Yeah.
There's nowhere but up because you couldn't be brought to the earth, I believe, and given that we got to go somewhere, kind of that's a goal, a dream, a desire. It's placed on your heart and it's not going to be the same for the other person on the same road. So it's all going to be okay.
Right. Yeah.
Just like, right.
Yeah, there's opportunity. I mean, there's so many coaches in the world and everyone has their own message and their own story and I've had instances where I've seen people copy my branding and I'm fine with that. Cuz at the end of the day, I remember back to my hat story and I'm like, my hat story didn't work out for me. It ain't going to work out for you if that's not who you truly
So
are.
true. Yes, if
Yep.
it's not who you truly are. Well, I'm glad I didn't wear my fedora today. I love hats.
I love hats too. I love hats too, but I have short hair now, so hats don't really work out for me so much
No, they
anymore.
won't. So that's awesome. Well, tell us, how can we find you?
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So you can find me. I'm usually on Instagram, whether it's posting something for my podcast or doing skits with my daughter. I like to bring her into everything. You could check me out too at amandayoa.official. And you can check my podcast out. I'm on all the platforms, Staying Inspired with Amanda Yoa.
Fantastic. We'll put the links down below, of course.
Yep.
And thank you so much for being on the show. And
My pleasure.
if this has resonated with anyone, reach out to Amanda.